This is Rob Zombie. You can listen to iWalter. I haven't heard it yet, but maybe it's good.
The sale has just begun. Hi, we're the Barnacle Brothers, and the biggest sale in our history began when you heard the clock start ticking. It's our 60-second sale. And you've only got 50 seconds left. Our doors were closed yesterday. Our doors were closed this morning. Our doors will be closed tomorrow. But our doors are open right now. But only for another 43 seconds. We got color televisions for $6 each. Camcorders for $3 each. You need an entire living room set, you'll find it at Barnacle Brothers. For only $15. How about a car? We got this brand new Rolls-Royce stretch limousine for only $20. But you gotta be here during the 60-second sale now in progress. Here's a lovely mink coat. 59 cents. And bars of pure plutonium. 3 for $1. All during the 60-second sale, which began 40 seconds ago. We didn't give you no warning. We can't extend the time. So if you want to save like never before, come to the 60-second sale at Barnacle Brothers. We tell you how to get here, but that'd take up too much time. Besides, if you're not here already, you ain't gonna make it. Because the fantastic Barnacle Brothers 60-second sale, with savings up to 99% off and more, is now over.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who, disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Yes, this is Walter from iWalter. You know what? Real quick, I do want to play a sound bite. By the way, it's Wednesday. It's hard to believe. It's Wednesday already. It's September 21st. And I want to clarify this for a friend of mine named, my friend Todd Thomas, because he had said he heard something today about the president, our prior president, Bush. Was it 41? Bush, what would it be, the original Bush? Well, the first Bush, the father. My friend heard this and he says, oh my God, this is ridiculous. He was upset. So I have to clarify this. I want to do this first and play the soundbite from Rush because I heard it today myself, where, this is what the news is trying to make people believe that, if I haven't clarified myself yet, I apologize, but he had heard, my friend Todd, that if it's Bush 41, but the father who was President Bush, they're spreading this rumor that he's gonna vote for Hillary Clinton, and it's not true. It's just some type of rumor that got started. So again, I want to clarify this first before I go any further. And I do want to make this kind of a short show. I always say that, and then I'll be up until I will be up until 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's crazy because I got to get some sleep. But anyway, let me play the soundbite. Hopefully this makes sense in case my friend Todd listens and to other people as well, because I'm sure this has just gotten out of hand now. So here we go. I'm going to play the soundbite, and I'll be back. Oh, and by the way, before I go any further, because I will forget this, I mentioned the other day when I was talking about renting the movie 31, Rob Zombie's 31, that there is these two clowns with chainsaws. They were brothers, and how they reminded me of a Rush Limbaugh skit. So I found the skit, so I put that in the beginning of the show. And it was called, because I think I got that correct, it was called the Barnacle Brothers, at least on the Rush Limbaugh parody. But these guys, their voices sounded pretty much exactly the same in this movie 31, these two clowns. So, and I've also heard maybe a guy at work or one of my supervisors, he's conservative, which I was surprised, and he says, yeah, I'm going to be voting for Trump. But anyway, he said he thought he heard that Rob Zombie is a conservative, and he wouldn't have been surprised if actually he did get these guys who did this parody for Rush Limbaugh, that Rob Zombie actually did get, these guys who did this parody. Because I don't know who the guys were. It's an old parody, and once in a while everybody asked, Rush, hey, can you play that parody during the commercial breaks? Because Rush, If you order his show, his podcast, you won't get any commercials. And if you listen to him live, obviously you won't get any commercials. Well, you don't get them on the podcast, but I mean, when you listen to him live, you won't get commercials. What you get are these parodies that are played over and over again. So the two that people ask for a lot, because there is two that they really like listening to. I don't know why, but one is the Barnacle Brothers, which they play, you know, because people request it. And the other one was this one called Spatula City. I don't know why, but the Barnacle Brothers one, I never really made a big deal out of. I just know they play it. I know all his parodies, Rush Limbaugh's. But after watching 31 with these guys and the way they talked, the same pace and speed, just like that commercial in the beginning of my episode tonight, it kind of like was like making me scratch my head. And then this one guy at work who, again, he's a conservative, and he is going to vote for Trump. Him and his other boss, they both said, yeah, we don't care. We're going to vote for Trump. We're conservative. We're going to vote for him. But he said, yeah, he thought, again, I haven't looked it up yet, so I can't really say, but he thought that, again, Rob Zombie is conservative, which would be actually really cool for me. But anyway, that's what that parody was in the beginning. It was from the Barnacle Brothers. It's a parody that's on Rush Limbaugh's show. So anyway, let me play this soundbite on Bush. Hopefully this clarifies things for people that this misconception or this rumor that's going around that Bush is going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Here we go now. I'm playing a soundbite.
Apparently what happened, Kathleen Kennedy was talking to George H.W. Bush. She posed for a picture with him. And then the next thing she knows, she posts the picture on Facebook and claims that 41 told her that he's voting for Hillary. Now, there's nobody that saw it. I have it on good authority. There are no witnesses to this. All we have is Kathleen Kennedy, the last name Townsend, and her assertion. And, of course, the Bush family spokesman, when asked about it, his vote is private. He has never intended to announce who he's going to vote for and isn't going to announce. They're taking that. Hey, it's a non-denial. They would have denied it. So now the word's out there that George H.W. Bush told Kathleen Townsend Kennedy, or Kennedy Townsend, she's going to vote for Hillary. And there's really no way of knowing. You just have to take it on faith one way or the other.
Okay, I hope that actually helped some people get a better understanding of what's going on with our former president of Bush, because I know it confused my friend Todd, so I actually found that part for him. Speaking about Todd, I'm going to see. I can't really see too well. I don't know why. My friend Todd, hold on one sec. I'm actually moving my monitor closer to me. Even with glasses, I can't even actually see it. Reading glasses. Maybe that's what it is. My friend Todd's brother, he puts up some really cool clips, newspaper clips from a local newspaper, and he doesn't live that far from us. My friend Todd's about an hour or two away right now, and his brother's about the same distance, maybe a little bit closer. So anyway, my friend Todd's brother, he always puts up really cool clips. He just shares them in a private group, but I'm not ashamed to bring them forth and actually present them as my own, because I think he's just a little shy on doing that. I don't know why. I think it's cool. But he actually is another person who's on our team, the red team. And as far as being Republican, sorry, that was a Freudian slip of the worst kind. So he put up a couple today, and I thought one was actually taken down. So I'm going to read these because when I say this same stuff, and by the way, I do have an article that Todd sent me on the breakup of a White Zombie and how that happened. I'm not going to read it. I might try to read these newspaper clippings because these are actually put in the paper every single day. It's like people, and with a gripe page, but when people write in and gets printed in an actual physical newspaper are a lot of things politically, and it's actually in favor of Republicans. So it's funny because we live in a blue state pretty much, but it would be when you read these, if you would see these, you would think we actually live in a red state. if that makes any sense. So I'm going to try to read these, so forgive me if I mess up. This one here, it was actually, he just posted this yesterday. My friend's brother. Boy, I'm really screwing up already. So this one that I really caught my eye today, it was like he puts so many up of these newspaper clippings, like he finds them in the newspaper, he reads them all, and then he posts them online. And they're really good quality, too. So this one says, here, I'm going to read it now. This is from one of the deplorables. Why are people who are supporting Donald Trump being called racist? Is it because it is mostly middle-class people who are sick and tired of working just to make it, while Barack Hussein Obama's administration keeps taking from us and giving our hard-earned money to the illegals? He keeps bringing in all the people who just don't want to work for a living, ? It's because, so he's basically saying, because he keeps wanting to bring in all, and this is what I say, and my one friend, no offense, Matt, I don't mean to pick on you, but you did kind of make a joke like, oh, it's got to be all these people that are not in jobs, and you were laughing about it, not like directly at me, but you left a voicemail, and you did kind of make it into a humorous joke for yourself. Like, I'm totally nuts, and I'm the only one who thinks this way, dude. But I'm not. Because you got to see these articles, Matt. Let me clarify, because just in case Mr. Harthman's listening, my other friend Matt, it's Matt Tarns. So, yeah, people are very pissed off about this shit. No offense. It's not just me griping and complaining about people all the time, which I do. I'm not going to deny the fact. But, yeah, it's like, so is it because people are pissed off, basically, that our hard-earned money is going to illegals, bringing them into this country, and who just don't want to work for a living? I mean, that's what it basically says. And I'll show you, dude. Next time you're over the house, I will gladly show you this stuff, because it's here to stay now. So that was one. I had a couple other ones that my friend Todd's brother put up. The other one says, stopping Obama is a short-term solution at this point. The long-term solution, and it will be more difficult, is fixing the information and educational system that has created so many people ignorant enough to vote for Obama, as well as a possible criminal and liar to the White House. And the person signed her name, Give Me Liberty. So, again, it just seems like it's always me just complaining about this shit. But no, I'm not the only one. And I know, Matt, you're going to come back and say, well, I never said you're not the only one complaining about it, but you just complain about it way too much. Dude, everybody else is complaining just as much as I am. If probably not even more. This is like every day there is like, I'm not even kidding, Matt, there is a plethora of articles in this one paper. I could find out the name of the paper, and he cuts out all these, or he doesn't cut them out. He just basically takes snapshots, and he posts them on, like, almost that it becomes nauseating, because it's just so many freaking articles, dude. I'm not making this shit up, so it's not just me. I just want to let you know that. And I know you're going to tell me, well, I know that, Walter, but then don't make a joke out of it and laugh about it. Not that you were laughing, but you were kind of snickering. So the last one, Todd, I'm thinking of somebody else. Todd's brother put up, which all I can say is, dude, keep on putting them up. I love these articles. Please don't stop, because you're not actually doing anything wrong. You're just posting what you see in the paper, in a physical newspaper, because nobody ever reads those fucking things anymore. The last one was, because you can see it's from, a paper, a newspaper. It's no joke. And this was also printed today. The Clinton Foundation pays Chelsea Clinton $900,000 a year to work there. This is a nonprofit, sure works for the Clintons, but nobody else. So they're paying their daughter, and this was printed again today, $900,000 a year just to run a Clinton charity, which 99% of the proceeds go in their pocket, and people are still giving them money. So once again, Matt, this is not me just trying to find things that you can laugh at, because this is not a fucking laughing matter, dude. No offense. I love you. But don't pick on me and act like, you single me out like I'm the only one who thinks this way and I'm a total nutcase. I know what it is to be nuts. I've been in a mental state hospital plenty of times. I should know. So anyway, I do want to get to that Rob Zombie thing, but I'm going to try to keep this, probably try to keep it, my shows within the hour mark, because when I go over, it just makes no sense, and I can't stand even listening to myself. There was a movie I did want to review. I actually wanted to call tonight's show after the bullshit I had to take up with work again. I just wanted to call this show, which I already made up a cover for it, The Faceless Ones. And it's funny because I didn't realize, because I know I heard that somewhere, that terminology called The Faceless Ones. Here, of all things, it was buried back in my mind, in my unconscious part of it. It actually was the name of an episode from, I think, Troughton. I think it was Troughton, of Doctor Who. So it wasn't too far of a stretch on where I would probably have gotten it from. I just never saw it. I just stuck in my mind, and it was a Doctor Who episode of all things. So, I mean, this is what I deal with on a daily basis. People just being passive-aggressive, very childish. The men all got to be chivalrous for the women because they're so feeble and helpless. But yet women are on equal terms. They want to do the same job as a man can do. But yet they try everything in their power to make sure that they can, that a man will wine and dine them, so to speak, not physically or whatever. I'm just using it as a term. And they want to be pampered by the men at work. Like, oh, you're so good looking. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, here, let me do that for you because you're a woman. I don't want, like basically putting your jacket down over a puddle so she won't have to step in it. And the thing is, women can't stand me at my job because if I make a sarcastic remark, it automatically becomes a sexual remark. And the fact that I won't deal with their bullshit makes them even more pissed off at me that I'm a real whack job. Because it's like, this guy's not feeding into our, little games. It's like, yeah, because I won't. You're wasting your time with me, ladies. You really are. And the head games and the victimization thing, as Rush had put in one of his segments that I put on my show, it does not fucking work with me. You can try, but I've had years of experience. I've had roommates. I had a roommate that we were both passive-aggressive, and we never won, but we were at each other's throats. So the best you're going to get on me is by you being passive-aggressive, ladies, and gentlemen. I'll be even more passive-aggressive, and it's going to be a losing battle because eventually I'll just continue to do it until I either pass out or just basically die of just trying to be the person who is the winner. So unless you want to go that far, you're just really going to waste your time. You're going to eventually figure that out. But they don't seem to learn, so they continue to play passive-aggressive games at work, act like big children, and they're not going to win. I don't know when they're going to learn. I don't think they ever will. I don't think they have the ability to learn. So they're just going to make the same mistakes. And I apologize because I heard my one boss told me, he says he knows quite a few people listen to my show. I mean, God love these people from work. And my friend Matt, even though I'm busted on you, dude, God love you all, because all of yous, because I can't stand listening to myself. So if you can bear listening to my voice and my shenanigans, you know what? You have a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, or you got the pass when you die. You're gonna go right to heaven. It's like, okay, so you've listened to iWalter for like how many years now, and you actually survived listening to this guy. And this is what God's going to say to you. He's going to like, you know what? Hey, dude, you know what? I don't care what you did. If you even killed somebody, you're going to go right to heaven. I don't care what you did. I don't care if you accidentally or deliberately ran over somebody with your car. You listened to iWalter for X amount of years. You are a saint. You don't have to go any further. Well, if explain yourself, you're in. So, just saying. So anyway, there was a couple there was two movies. One I couldn't get to play. It actually froze. It was one of the movies with my membership to Amazon, so I ended up buying it because it was cheaper. Because by the time I actually watched this one freaking movie, it'll take a while, and what it's going to cost for the rental, it's just going to be like renting it over and over again. So I think it's a dead movie. They're not going to fix it on Amazon Prime. So I basically figured I'll just freaking rent the freaking movie. Buy the freaking movie. It was like $10 to buy it. I'm looking for the name. It's somewhere buried in my list of films, I think. And I don't see it. I think it was called The Final Terror. So I'm going to have to open up another page. Shit. I thought I had this all set up. I'm looking for my movie list. Walter. Because I did open a bunch of shit, but now I'm going to have to dig through. I'm trying to stay... that's not going to work. I'm trying to stay focused. Because I got a couple stories actually lined up before I came on. And, no. By the way, it was funny. I said I was going to buy it. It was like $8. I hope it works. But I did get one of these things for my MacBook that you put underneath that keeps it cool. Keeps some airflow going over top so it won't get overheated. I'm trying to feel it, making sure I didn't turn off my thing. And I hope it works because it wasn't that expensive. It was like $11. And it was nice. You don't hear the fan, though. So that kind of worried me. It's like, okay, is this actually working? Let's see. New window. Final Terror, because I did have it up, and there's a reason for that movie. What I did not want to mention first, but I did want to mention the movie I just bought, Final Terror. My phone didn't come today, folks, so I was really upset. But it was funny. It was in China this morning. By this afternoon, it was in Tokyo, and then later in the evening, it was actually in like somewhere in not Pennsylvania, but in the United States, because it's got second day shipping. Yeah, it was called The Final Terror. I want to mention this in a minute. It was 1983. Now, the reason I really wanted to buy it, because I was kind of surprised. Dara Hannah was in the film. She was really young. She looked like so plain Jane, it wasn't even funny. Rachel Ward was in the film. A couple other people. But yeah, I didn't even know Daryl Hannah did like a horror movie. I was kind of shocked by that. Yeah, Mark Metcalf. I've heard of him before. Am I saying his name right? Lewis Smith. I don't know. There's a couple names that kind of rang a bell. I didn't realize, of all people, that Daryl Hannah did actually a horror movie. And I remember, she went through that one phase that she was, really, really hot. Now, in this film, she was, kind of, no different looking than any other blonde-haired chick. But she went through that phase, especially in the movie Splash, where she was, really fucking hot. So, I don't know what happened to her, but now she's, she's, went from being, okay looking to, really hot, to now just looking okay looking, and then it's just sliding down from there. She's going even lower than okay looking. She's not that great looking at all anymore. So I do want to mention about that. I don't know how much more I'm going to say after what I just said, but I want to go back, and I did have the Rob Zombie thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, I did find my Final Terror finally, even after I thought I lost it. So, there was a movie. Now I can't find the other one. Shit. Dead and Buried. Okay, that actually I watched. It had no problem playing it. Because see what I did, folks. You can do this too. You can actually go on, if you have an Amazon Prime account, for an extra $5, you can up your, this is the big gimmick right now. For an extra $5, you can get what's called Shudder, and I think I spelled it wrong one time. I think I said SHUTTER. It's actually, I think, SHUDDER. But you can go right directly through Shudder. It's not expensive. I think one of these networks own it. Let me make sure I get it right. I'm going to put in Shudder Movies. Maybe it is the other way. I get confused by the spelling of this. Shudder.com. It is SHUDDER. Start your free trial. I actually went through Amazon Prime because it's not much. It's like $5 a month. But they do have some interesting films. You get everything, but if you go through Prime, like, I'm going to always keep Prime, so it's not a big deal. I don't know how much it costs otherwise if you go right directly through Shudder, but you actually can watch it on your TV set. And like they pick different horror movies and stuff. Yeah, it says iOS, Apple iOS, Android, Roku, Chromecast, and Apple TV, which I didn't know. So I just get it through Amazon. See, if you go through Amazon, though, since it's cheaper, I don't know what the regular price is, so I shouldn't even say that. Let's see, Shudder on Demand. Let's see what Apple charges. No, it really does not give you a price. You can just buy the app, but then you have to buy the, what do you call it? But through Prime, it's probably you're kind of limited, though, because Amazon and Apple are competitors against each other. Anyway, I think this is where I found out about certain movies, and some of them I've never heard of. I'm always, interested in some movies I might have missed back when I was a kid in the 80s. So, one of them, because I remember the book. When I was a kid, I remember seeing the book, the novel, whatever it was, in the bookstore. Actually in the grocery markets, when they put the top sellers of movies. And I remember seeing this Dead and Buried. It was like, So, but I think, I'm pretty sure 100%. I remember seeing at least a book, because most movies get novels made out of them anyway. But I think this was the other way around. I'm not sure. But it was, again, it says Dead and Buried was a 1981 science fiction horror film directed by Gary Sherman, starring Melanie Anderson. I used to always, when she was much younger, she's not bad looking, but she was really hot when she was younger. And she's in the movie. Well, I didn't even know Melanie Anderson is Canadian. I didn't know that. But it's an interesting movie. It's kind of like, if you like I told somebody at work, if you like John Carpenter, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting the wrong name. Stephen King. If you like Stephen King's kind of stories, you probably would like Dead and Buried, because it's the same kind of premise. And it says small town in New England. Isn't that kind of where, Stephen King does a lot of his stuff, I think, is actually, that, somewhere around the same area, like New England. Maybe that's another reason I thought it was kind of like... No, actually, the storyline reminded me of, a Stephen King story. For some reason, it really did. It's a little quirky, but here's the funny thing, by the way, because he was really young. Robert Englund was in the movie as one of the characters. Now, it's Dead and Buried, and there was another guy. I actually pulled up his name because he played in this TV show years ago. He was actually in Willy Wonka, this old guy. He was like the main character. But he played in Chico and the Man. When I was a kid, I remember growing up watching the show called Chico and the Man. And his main actor, he plays a mortician who basically makes up dead people to look like if they were in a bad car accident and stuff. He tries to make them look like they did, or even better, as he puts it, before they died. So, it was an interesting film. He plays, again, the mortician. I'm trying to look for his name now. Dead and Buried, and I don't see it. Because I had all this stuff, I try to get this stuff. Well, this should be pretty easy. I don't see it. As a doctor, as Ben, hitchhiker. Yeah, for some reason they don't have him listed, though. Because I did have him up. I'm going to have to go through these names. Because I can't remember off the top of my head what that actor's name was. And I probably would get it wrong anyway. Now, they have Robert Englund in one of the credits. But for some reason... Oh, his name is Jack Albertson, or Albertson, something like that. Well, anyway, even though I'm like really sabotaging this poor guy's name, wow, he actually died of cancer. I didn't know that, but he did play on this one TV show, because it even says here from 74 to 78 he played in Chico and the Man. But the same actor also did play in, let's see, filmography. He did play in Willy Wonka. That's why I had to throw that little dig on that. So let me see what other things that people might actually recognize. But he plays in Mortician. He actually was in Poseidon Adventure. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They're like the big ones that I think people would be able to recognize the guy from. The mustache, older man. He looked pretty young in this movie. He looked old then, too, when this movie came back out in 1981. But anyway, what the whole premise of the film was, because if you don't know, I actually just finally caught watching this film, so I might ruin it for some people, is not only does he bring people back to, make them look like they did before they died, but he also brought them back to life. He turned these people into some type of zombie, but not like your typical zombie. Like, he controlled these people and made them almost like puppets more than zombies. And he himself was also one of these zombies, so to speak. So it's called Dead and Buried. A very interesting film. A little bit boring, to say the least. It didn't make quite sense to me, and even at the end it was quite weird, but it did have that, even though it wasn't one of his pieces, but it did remind me of a Stephen King story for some reason. So Dead and Buried was definitely interesting, has some pretty interesting actors and actresses in there. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I actually kind of would. There was a girl named Lisa Blunt. She was really cute, too. Well, she died like 6 years ago, though. Again, I'm just like sabotaging these names, though. But it was definitely, yeah, okay. I think I know who she played in the movie. This girl named Lisa. Yeah, I think it was. But she was definitely really hot in the movie. Actually, it says Officer Gentleman, so maybe she played in the movie Officer and Gentleman, too, which I didn't know. I know that was a really popular film back in the day. Yeah, if it was her that I'm thinking of, she played like one of the first people you see in this movie called Dead and Buried, and you do see her breasts exposed, if it's the one, I think, just to, if guys are interested. And she was really, really hot, but she died pretty young, I would think. She was only born in 1957. She died in 2010. So, yeah, I don't know what that deal was. But again, I think, because I remember that, again, that was like the popular movie back in the day was Officer and Gentleman. She played in that as well, but she also played in this movie Dead and Buried. So don't expect a lot. It's a bit boring, not that exciting, this movie called Dead and Buried, but it's also very interesting. A lot of people consider it a cult classic. It's like, well, if it's a cult classic, I think of movies like Halloween from John Carpenter and stuff. I don't think of this, but I kind of can see why people would say that. So, And that was on, I think, Shudder.com, or Shudder if you have Amazon Prime, you can just get Shudder, or just freaking rent the movie. You can do that too. So, yeah, there was that. And then I was just starting to watch until it froze up, and I actually tried different devices to get this movie to work, called The Final Terror. And now it's listed as a 1983 slasher teen film. Now, the interesting thing was it kind of followed the premise of Friday the 13th a little bit, at least the first few minutes I watched of the film until it locked up. So Rachel Ward, wow, there's a picture of her. She is like really hot. But she's in this film, and I know I saw her in other things, Rachel Ward. I don't know what, but I did see her. I'm going to try to look that up because I should have done it ahead of time. Because I wonder if she actually played in the Friday the 13th. I don't know. Probably not. She played in Sharky's Machine, this Rachel Ward. But she's in this movie, besides Daryl Hannah, of, let me go back now, The Final Terror. So this was like, because my friend Matt actually told me about some horror movies that I've seen before, that I haven't even heard of, that he introduced me to. And they were really cool because I'll check them out. So this one, I was like, yeah, I really wanted to watch it. And then it just basically kind of gave out. So, yeah, and it was on Amazon Prime. And again, it might have been a Shudder movie. But who knows how long it's going to take. Maybe they'll fix it right away, but maybe they won't. Actually, Rachel Ward, actually, when I never heard or watched that film, but I thought it was considered pretty good. Against All Odds. She played in that movie, too. See, I thought she might have played in, like, a Halloween movie, because she has that familiar face. She was actually in the Thornburgs TV series, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, Sharky's Machine, Dynasty, Night School, Christmas. Well, no, people wouldn't understand. Know that one. I'm just trying to look through. Yeah, I saw somewhere that she actually did play, I thought in something, Final Terror she did in 83. It says, one part it says 81, and the other part says 83, so I don't know. Against All Odds, 1984. Because when I think of that movie, Against All Odds, I think of that song from Phil Collins that was really popular in that movie. Yeah, Jeff Bridges was in that movie, Against All Odds. I heard that was like, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I saw her in the cover, and then I saw in this movie, and I just kind of assumed it was a Friday the 13th movie that she was in. But she was really hot back in the day, I'll tell you that much. She was extremely hot. I won't say that same thing about her anymore, but, people do age. I understand that. But yeah, The Final Terror, I can't really say much about because I'm still going to watch it. I just figure, okay, it's $4 to rent it, and it's $10 to buy it on iTunes. So, good or bad, it's just, I don't want to keep on buying the same or renting the same movie over and over again. I might as well just buy it, and then when I get a chance, I'm going to end up watching it. It's going to be on my iTunes account, so I'll be happy. So, yeah, that's something maybe to check out, maybe because that was one that kind of I overlooked, The Final Terror, and it's right up my alley because I like, Friday the 13th movies, so why not get one that is, right in that kind of category called The Final Terror? And it has, again, Hannah, what is it? Daryl Hannah in there, so, that's another reason for me to kind of check it out. By the way, for those people, I never even thought about this, but it is a good idea. I actually stayed home for about an hour because I thought they said the phone was supposed to come today, and it didn't. My iPhone 7, that's going to be eventually be my replacement phone because the other ones just had issues. So it was shipped on the 18th. It was supposed to come today. I was like, okay, I'll stay home for a little bit. So, okay, now it's in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, so I don't know how far that is. It was in Arkansas before. But earlier on the 18th, it was in China. Then it moved to another area in China. And then by the 20th, it was in Korea. So it had taken 2 days right there. So it's going to take a little longer to get than what they said. Now, as of right now, it was just sent from UPS, my iPhone 7, to Louisville, Kentucky. So it's getting closer. It's getting closer. Is it going to be there in the next day or two? I have no clue. But you know what? I'm not going to bother myself anymore by trying to figure out, okay, where is this phone going to be? Do I need to be home? Do I have to take any more personal time? I finally got to the point, because I saw this on Apple's website. I just said, you know what? Screw it, because they give you this option where they have drop-off centers, which are, they're everywhere, these UPS stores. So I figured I'm going to go to one close around the house, have them deliver the phone to a drop-off center, which all you have to do is show your ID and then, okay, the record that shows that this is what you've been waiting for, you're picking up your package. They're sending you out a receipt. So that's perfect. So I'm not going to do that again and waste any more personal time. What I'm going to do, though, is once it comes, I'll print out the receipt, bring my ID, go to the local UPS store. There's plenty of them around here. I had it specifically sent to one particular one, and I'll pick it up. I won't have to wait at home. I don't have to worry about anybody stealing it from the front of my house, which has never happened yet, but there's always going to be a first time, and I don't want that to happen. And if anything happens when it's in the hands of UPS, then it's going to be on them. That's going to be their responsibility to make sure I get another phone, because that's in their hands to make sure it goes in my hands. So I'll see how that works out, but it sounded like, this is a little bit more promising. And by the way, I'm already at 40 minutes. I don't know how I got up there already. A friend did send me a couple articles. I didn't get to the Rob Zombie one. Let me read this one really quick, because this is kind of I'm a little leery. I'm really afraid. But he sent me one. He said it's titled from NewJersey.com, "Fill It Regular. Drivers waste $2.1 billion on premium gas last year, studies say." Basically what they're saying is that whole thing about having to put premium gas in your tank is a hoax. But my car actually requires it. Now, if I could put lower test gas, I would, but I noticed that my dad does that. He only puts the cheapest gas he can freaking find. And all he ever has is issues. And he's got a car that he's leasing. So, the way I understand, you're going to have more problems, because if you don't put premium gas, if your car's not designed to burn it, because what happens is the cheaper gas you need to burn at a higher, a higher temperature or whatever. It has to, it burns hotter, from my understanding, that certain cars are designed that they will not build up any carbon or whatever in your what is it, pistons? Because I don't know anything about fucking cars. So if your car's not designed to run cheaper gas, you're basically just going to destroy the engine. That's what I always heard. So I don't know if that's a misconception or not. But you know what? I'll just pay the extra 50 cents or a couple dollars more every tank full, just for the peace of mind that the car is going to run properly. I'm not going to put cheap, shitty gas in there to save a few pennies or a dollar. I'll just pay the extra buck or two, because I keep my gas tank pretty much filled all the time anyway. So, I mean, unless it's proven that I can burn regular gas, and they tell me from Volkswagen that, oh, yeah, Walter, you can burn regular gas in your Tiguan. That's a bunch of BS. You don't need to burn the high test. Then, and only then, will I do it. I'll ask them. But trust me, I'm not going to ruin my car just to save a couple bucks. So I got a couple interesting stories, but I keep on talking about the Rob Zombie thing, and I don't even know where to go with that. But a friend texted me tonight in a private message, and bottom line was, let's see if I can find the article now, because I kind of forgot what I did with it, honestly. I'm looking through all these other ones I have. Yeah, I'm trying to look for it. I have it somewhere. I just don't know where is the problem. Let's see. See, I honestly, I could probably almost be done in the next 15 minutes, but I got so many stories opened up. I'm not even sure where almost to begin. Okay, I'm going to just go through. I don't want to really do this, but I'm going to have to now. My friend Todd sent me this article on Rob Zombie. Here we go. It was actually from blabbermouth.net. It says, Rob Zombie says he has many legit reasons for not wanting to reunite White Zombie. So it's a pretty lengthy article. I'm not real long. I just don't really have the time or the patience to read it right now at 4 o'clock in the morning. So the gist I got from it, because he is starting to play for the first time. He did when I went to that concert up in Bethlehem. I think he played like 27 songs, if I remember correctly. Because my one friend said he found the playlist, and it was like, yeah, he played a lot. And I think there was things that aren't even listed that Rob Zombie played. So he did play a lot. I mean, I was losing my patience. It was just like way too fucking long. And you think, like, hey, the more he's playing, the more you're getting your money's worth out of Rob Zombie. It's like, but dude, my ears were really sore. So yeah, it can be too much. So, and there's people over the years, they said, can you please reunite the original band members of White Zombie? Like, can they do another album? And it's not going to happen. And for what I gathered, I mean, again, just look at blabbermouth.net and look for the story on Rob Zombie. His reasons don't seem very legit to me from what I read. I kind of glanced over it. And what I saw was the one chick who was the bass, she a bass? She played bass. She looked, I remember years ago I said this, she looked a lot back then, not exactly, but she looked let me put it this way, she looked very similar to Sherry Moon. And they said that was part of the reason Sherry Moon, apparently, I think, it was a conflict that, hey, either I go or she goes, which means breaking up the band. So that's what I kind of gathered out of it, is like maybe Sherry Moon had a problem with the bass player, who was that chick. And I'm not going to even try to pronounce her name. I have it right here. It looks like her first name's like a guy's name. It's Sean. I mean, personally, she's not as good looking as Sherry Moon, but she has similar features to Sherry Moon. But yeah, it's Sean. So her name is Sean. And I can't pronounce her last name. It's spelled Yseult. So I'm not going to even begin to pretend I know how to pronounce that. I'm looking at the old albums. I guess in some ways she doesn't look like Sherry Moon, but in other ways she kind of really does remind me of Sherry Moon. I don't know why, because I remember seeing the one video. I'm not sure which one it was. And yeah, because some pictures she kind of looks more like Sherry, not like exactly, but she looks very similar in some of her features to Sherry Moon. Now, she's about Rob's age. Sherry Moon's a couple years younger, and I hate to say it, Sherry Moon looks really hot. And the bass, what is it? She played bass, right? Yeah, she was a bassist. The chick who played bass on White Zombie, she's not that hot looking. I mean, back then, she was not bad looking, but she really aged really badly. I mean, I'm sorry. She's probably like a decent player, a bass player now, too. Now, my one friend said, Todd, she gave up music altogether to do something else. But then I'm like looking at this stuff, and they're saying she's still like doing music. So I don't know. He said she gave it up altogether. So maybe I'm looking at this, but it says I'm in the band, and it says 2015, and she's still into like music and metal music, it says. I don't know, but I'm just looking at the pictures too. So I don't know what her whole deal is. But yeah, I mean, but she looks really bad. She looks horrible. I'm sorry to say that. Now, Rob looks actually pretty damn good for, he's only in his early 50s. And the man is like, he sounds great. I think he looks really, really decent. You know, sometimes he looks, with all that makeup, it's hard to tell what he really looks like. But overall, I think, you know, he's a decent looking guy. You know, you can't tell from the beard and stuff what he looks like underneath. But he actually dated this chick, Sean. Now, she's born in 1966, June 6, 1960. Now, how could she be 50? Oh, okay, she's a year older than me. But this chick, Sean, that was in White Zombie, yeah, she aged really bad. I don't know what happened to her, but she aged really badly. Sherry Moon looks like, I think she takes really good care of herself. That's what it is. Yeah, but Sean was, I hate saying Sean because that sounds like a guy's name. It is a guy's name, but that looks like her name. So, but anyway, this one article that Todd had sent me, it basically said, well, one thing, Rob Zombie dated Sean, and obviously he must have eventually decided instead to date Sherry Moon, which he's married to still. And it was like, again, what I gathered from Sherry Moon, she kind of basically said, hey, it's either her or me. And the band, like, basically, he just broke up the band because I think Rob Zombie, from what I saw, he was like the main person who basically owned the rights to the band anyway, of White Zombie, because he's the one who's into those old horror movies and stuff. So, but it sounded like he was the one who broke it up, and they said hey, we wanted to do another album, you know, the band members from White Zombie, and Rob said, no, I'm done with it. I don't want to do any more, you know, and they were actually, I thought it looked like they wanted to look for a new lead vocalist. It's like, well, I think it's just like the same thing with Smashing Pumpkins with Billy Corgan. You can break up the band, but Billy Corgan owns the rights to Smashing Pumpkins, so Rob Zombie, I think it's the same deal there. He owns the rights to the name of the band, and it's his band. You'd have to buy the rights for White Zombie, and it wouldn't be the same without him. So the man's pretty shrewdy like that. I mean, he's a business guy, it seems like. So what they said the day after, he literally said, this is it. We're not going to make another album. He's done with White Zombie. They said it was the very next day, if I read this correctly, Rob Zombie came out with his solo album. So he kind of like had this all planned. It's almost like that Sex Pistols thing, because that happened with Sex Pistols where Johnny Loudon or Johnny Rotten basically broke up the band, and then the next day he basically started his own thing with PIL. And Rob Zombie kind of did the same kind of slick move where he said, okay, I'm done with White Zombie. I'm not going to make any more music. I'm done with it. And then the next day he put out Rob Zombie. So something like that. Again, just read it for yourself, and you can even like kind of write me back and say, hey, Walter, you were incorrect about this, or, you know, hey, you know, this is, you know, whatever. But Rob Zombie, by the way, he has been, I'm trying to put this up on Twitter. He has been actually playing White Zombie songs for the very first time, in fact. That show I saw said it was like one of the first times he's played a lot of, or any White Zombie songs. It was like, dude, you own these songs. I mean, he might have made these songs with the other band members from White Zombie, but he eventually just owns the rights to those songs. Now, it said, like, the other band members in White Zombie, they did say, hey, we want to come back to reform the group because we have ideas for other songs for White Zombie. And he basically just fucked him over. No offense, I love you, dude, Rob Zombie, but you kind of fucked these people over, and then you're saying you have no regrets. I mean, he's been very successful for how many years? I mean, he's got a lot of fans. I mean, I'm one of them. There are certain things I didn't know. I'll have to read through this article, and it's kind of late, and I'm almost up on my hour mark. So, again, blabbermouth.net. Look for the Rob Zombie article. It was actually September 20th, 2016, which I was just posted yesterday. It must have came out since he's been touring. He tours a lot, too, by the way. So I thought that was pretty cool. Thank you very much, Todd, for that article, by the way. Matt, you haven't given me anything lately. Let's see. You know what was pretty weird? I don't know why. I just want to go with this article. It was from PerezHilton.com, and it was a little bit scary. But there was this old game show. They pulled up this video, and it says this was acceptable in 1970s. And it's some game show where the game show host was this older guy, and it's no joke. When you watch it, you can see that they're not making up, and I think it really kind of upset a lot of people. I'm looking at some of these comments, and they're not happy. Well, this dude is like hitting on like 11-year-olds, like literally kissing them on the face, kissing them on the lips, and say, "Oh, do you want to give me a kiss?" And it's like, how do you pick up guys? And this was back in the 70s. But this guy is literally, like, trying to... There's this one girl, she looks like a guy almost, this kid. She's only 11 years old, though. That's the point. And he's, like, flirting with the freaking girl who's 11 years old, and he kisses her on the lips. So, again, this really... there's, like, different parts in the show. I think it's shown on the Game Network. I don't know if they actually will show the show. I've never even heard of the show. I don't even know what the name of the show is, actually. So what am I saying? But the whole thing was, it was on Perez Hilton, and they were just saying, listen, basically, this was acceptable back then, but this would not fly. And they're showing this guy is, like, literally kissing these little girls on the lips. It's a game show. Now, I don't know the name of the show. I don't think they're going to show you. But they're showing a clips where this guy's, like, flirting with these 11-year-old little girls, an older guy, the game show host guy, and he's, like, saying flirtatious things, and then he's, like, literally trying to get them to kiss him on the lips. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at the comments, they're pretty funny, actually, but they're not funny, honestly. The guy is kind of very perverted. I mean, he's doing this on national TV back in the 70s where it's bad enough. Yeah, somebody put on their dirty old man all over top of, superimpose it over top. But he literally is like almost making out with these little kids, like kissing them. It's not even funny. I mean, I'm sure at the time he was doing it for just to get a rise out of people. But, and I'm sure the little girls found this, oh, wow, this older guy, like, he's trying to kiss me. But it is actually a little bit appalling. So, I wish I knew the name of the show. I really do. So I could get on there. I'm kidding. No, seriously, it was pretty disturbing. Anyway, let me see, because I want to kind of go through, since it's up on to my hour mark, and I like to end it at that point. Thank you, Todd. You found an article from the New York Post. It says, funeral director accused of selfies with hearses caskets. So this dude, Ross? Probably looks like Rose there, but I'm sure it's pronounced Ross. Made shocking discovery last week. Rose. Okay, so it's this woman, Rose. Shocking discovery last weekend during a service for her 32-year-old cousin, where apparently the guy who is, the funeral director or whatever, this black dude, he's actually taking selfies with the caskets and everything else, like he's having a grand old time taking selfies with the deceased. Literally. I mean, I've heard of some strange things. That is a little bit bizarre. So, no joke. That was on the New York Post, by the way. Thank you, Todd. Thank you for that story, because that was pretty interesting. Let's see. Here was one Todd sent me. It was pretty funny. It was also, it was actually NewJersey.com website link. I saw, like, when I was reading this other one from NewJersey.com. In Trenton, woman charged with stabbing a man who refused to have sex with her. So if you look at the picture, the mugshot of this lady, she is really, really hideous. I mean, it is so hideous. Even in my most desperate hour, I couldn't bear to look. I can't bear to look at for more than like 2 seconds. A woman stabbed her male roommate in the chest Friday after he refused to have sex with her Prosecutors said on Tuesday. Sharon Harry, 61, of Trenton, was arrested Friday and charged with aggravated assault and weapon charges. So there you go. This woman in the mugshot is pretty scary. It is on my Facebook page, but you can just go directly and you will find it on NewJersey.com, by the way. So I am over an hour, so I'm not happy. Hey, on a lighter note, this was actually heartwarming. I did put it on my Facebook page, too. Looks like viral, I guess it's viral VO for viralvideo.com. .com. Girl with prosthetic leg is given a doll exactly like her. Watch her reaction. And it is very heartwarming. Like, they give her, her name is Emma of Cyrus, Texas. They give her this doll that actually has got a prosthetic leg on it. And the girl is so happy with this. She's like in tears. Because, it's got to be hard on the poor girl that, she's like 6 or 7 years old and she's got one leg. So they decided to, that's kind of risky in some ways too. But she loved this doll, receiving this doll that was, looked like her and also had a prosthetic leg the same way that this real girl does. So it's a really good video. It's very heartwarming. I would recommend it. Check it out. Todd, you sent me another story, so thank you. I'm looking at it right now, and this was from New York Post. Unfortunately, it's not so heartwarming. Student dismembered and burned after leaving bar with man she just met. This was on September 20th, actually. Now, the thing is I don't understand. I don't even try to ask girls out. I don't even go out of my way to make conversation with them, believe it or not. But yet you would think I would, the way I get treated by most women or the reactions I get by a lot of females. So, and I always make this comment, too, that, and this is like an isolated case, I understand, but women don't think very clearly. They just basically go for the tough, gritty guy, and this girl got herself killed. A man has been charged with capital murder in the death of Texas college student whose body was found dismembered and burned in a park one night after the couple was spotted at a bar. Charles Dean Bryant, 30, was charged in the death of Jacqueline Vandergriff, a 24-year-old nutrition major at Texas Women's University in Denton. Grapevine Police Sergeant Robert Erlin told reporters during a news conference Monday that Vandergriff, I think that's how you say it, of Frisco, may be have first met Bryant one night before she was found dead early Wednesday. But what a way to go. I mean, I'm sorry, though. Women just seem that, I mean, I'm not saying guys are any better because they're probably just as bad. But why do people that are so judgmental always seem to make the wrong choice, though? Because I've dealt with this for years. This is why it's so close to home for me. I've had this years ago, and I mentioned this story, Todd. You know which one I'm talking about. About this chick. She had a really distorted, disfigured face, this chick. And I used to call her, because it looked like her face had burnt marks on it. And I called her Burnt Face Girl. And we worked at WHYY, Store of Knowledge over King of Prussia. Now, most people might have heard the story a million times that know me. Well, the thing was, she was very conceited. She was very hideous looking, too, I'm sorry to say. And it's like, oh, well, you're just jealous. Well, good. If you think that, then that's great. But it's not the truth. In fact, I felt bad for the poor girl, so I tried to be, nice to her. And all she did was treat me, very smitten. She didn't want to be bothered by me. She was better than I was. I'm just trying to be nice. I actually felt bad for the poor girl, I thought. Well, anyway, you probably heard the story before if you've listened to my show. Well, that girl ended up in the newspaper where she was actually dismembered as well. They found her body parts in many different places. Like, she was butchered up. And her thing was, I found out later on, they actually, I think, wrote this in the paper. It was, I think, in, God, where's that one part? It's a pretty crummy area past Norristown where she, I think, lived. She was like, had multiple partners, guys that basically, I guess she obviously had a low self-esteem because she slept with any guy. She wouldn't even give me the time of day when I was just trying to be nice to her. But yeah, they found her that she was dating, like, I think 2 guys at the same time, and either one or both of them actually basically killed her and just, like, dismembered her body. So, I mean, it's like, for some, it's just like a broken record. Like, don't you ever learn your lesson? I mean, I kind of do. I stay clear from danger, especially people that are extremely dangerous. I don't welcome it. I don't have a welcome mat on my penis that says, "Hey, come over here. I want this person to, I want to fuck this person, and then they can tear me apart." And it's like, well, you don't know what they're going to do, Walter. It's like, well, you kind of can tell. I mean, I made some stupid mistakes in the past with picking, like, the wrong females to date, but never to the point that I got myself killed, at least. Not even close. So I just think it's stupidity, in my opinion. So anyway, I got to go on a lighter note. So here's one. Comicbook.com. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Gabriel Luna on stepping into Nick Cage's Ghost Rider shoes. So I don't watch that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they're actually going to introduce the character of Ghost Rider on there if you do watch it. Speaking about, like, comics and stuff, my friend Todd actually saw today, which I was kind of shocked. He went and saw, and I was surprised by his answer. He went and saw that movie, or had seen the movie of Suicide Squad. And he said he was really surprised. He went in there with low expectations. He thought the film was going to really suck. And he said to his surprise, he actually thought the movie was really good. So there you go. There was somebody who thought the movie was going to be horrendous. It was going to be a shitty movie, and he actually really enjoyed it. So if you like, those comic book movies, he really liked that one. So now I was a person who fought that movie tooth and nail. I liked it. I saw it the night before it came out. I really enjoyed the film. I never had anything bad to say about it. And now I have somebody else who thinks the same way I do. And he actually found, like, Harley Quinn, the character Harley Quinn was the most annoying. I told him, he says, yeah, I agree with that. The parts I said were actually really well acted, like Will Smith playing Deadshot. He agreed with that, because I said that was, that Will Smith did a very good job with the character. They changed the origins of the character, because he was actually a white guy, and they changed him into a Caucasian guy. They changed him into an African-American, but Will Smith did an excellent job. I can't complain. So everything that I liked and disliked about the movie, he was on the same page with me, my friend Todd. So there we go. Now, here's a weird thing. That movie, Jumanji, that was made with Robin Williams. Apparently, it looks like they're going to remake it. Now, it caught my eye, though, because it's not called a remake. It's just called Jumanji. Actually, it's called Jumanji 2. I think, or somebody's making a joke out of it. I think they're just remaking Jumanji. Now, it has, who in it? People are, like, kind of upset, because it doesn't really need to be remade. Well, it says The Rock, but I'm trying to go by his, Dwayne Johnson's in the film, which is cool, but then it has that chick that was in Doctor Who, the one who gave me a hard time years ago. Well, most people give me a hard time, especially female-wise. No, she was a redheaded chick who played with Matt Smith. She was like his only companion. She's in Jumanji, and she does look really hot. She looks like really, really hot. She's got like a belly shirt on. Her boobs look really, really hot. And she's got short shorts. She almost looks like, I hate to say it, she looks like a redheaded version of Laura Croft from Tomb Raider. She's like that hot looking. But the point is, people are just annoyed that they're making a remake maybe a sequel. I don't even know. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan, that's her name, starring a reboot of the 1995 film of Jumanji. It's like, have you really ran out of ideas for films, so you have to remake Jumanji now? So, and I just have that sore spot for, not that it means anything, and I'm sure it's just going to be plain bad anyway. She does look hot, though. I can't get over that part. She looks really hot. So, did I say it already? Now, this was weird. I saw this today. It caught my attention. My mom likes Jimmy Fallon. Don't ask me why. But they had this thing on here because I thought it was like something from Saturday Night Live, and here it was no. It was actually a new skit that Jimmy Fallon did. He's dressed up like a girl, so I thought it was like one of those skits with Mike Myers. And here I didn't realize it was Jimmy Fallon, though, doing a skit with Miley Cyrus. So, yeah, it caught my attention. She actually looked okay. I'm not going to say she looks hot. She still looks kind of funky looking. But, yeah, he did some skit with Miley Cyrus. I mean, the tattoos are just ridiculous. I'm sorry on her. She looks goofy like that. And she's got, the weirdest physique. And her face just looks fucked up. I'm sorry. But anyway, it says Miley Cyrus' new ew skit with... Yeah, ew is right when you look at her. Ew. With Jimmy Fallon screams Hannah Montana. Montana. So that's why I thought, because I saw the word Hannah Montana, I thought it was like an old skit. I swear, I thought it was... Because it's kind of a ripoff of the skit that Mike Myers would do with Wayne's World. But, and Mike Myers, I think, did a skit of dressing up like a... I thought, he did the whole, little girl type thing. Oh, we're having well, Wayne's World was like that, Hey, we're young kids. We're doing a show from our house. But no, this kind of remind me of something that Mike Myers would do. So it's not very original. And I don't watch Jimmy Fallon. Once in a while I do, but my mom, almost watches it. My mother watches it religiously. Actually, this was a couple years ago, so I have to take this back. But still, they put it up on, it's called onairwithryan.heart.com, like Ryan Seacrest. It is a Ryan Seacrest web's link. Back in 2013, Miley Cyrus once, obliterated her Hannah Montana persona to little itty-bitty pieces, but a trace of the famed Disney persona was alive and kicking when the pop titan joined Jimmy Fallon for the latest installment of Ew on Monday night's September 19th episode of The Tonight Show. So why does it say back in 2013? So it must have been a repeat. I couldn't even think of that word. God, I'm really bad. So I watched it. It was very irritating, and she looks quite hideous. I'm sorry. I used to always think she was a very cute kid. Cute as in that guy that was kissing those 11-year-olds, kind of cute. I'm being sarcastic, by the way, just to let Matt know, too, because he kind of takes... Well, see that, Walter? I knew there was something wrong with you. I knew you were some type of pedophiliac or pedophile. No, it's a joke. I know that's hard to believe. I can actually tell a joke because they're never that good. So, yeah, you could see that on my webpage. Now, this was interesting because I first heard it today live on Rush Limbaugh's show, and then it was on air with Ryan Seacrest's website. Angela Jolene files for divorce from Brad Pitt. And apparently what Rush was saying, because I'm not going to read this, is that Brad Pitt was pretty much cheating on Angela Jolene. And they apparently have 6 kids or something like that. They're all adopted. Okay, I'll have to read this one. Angela Jolene has filed for divorce from Brad Pitt on TMZ, from TMZ reporting. That's where Rush was actually reading from, was TMZ. The outlet reveals that Jolie filed legal documents Monday and cited consistable, whatever. I don't know. Just read it for your fucking self. According to the paperwork, the actress is requiring requesting for physical custody of her couple's 6 children. You can have them all. I don't think he wants them. He wants to also, with Russia, he wants to stay in and live in California, and she kind of, like, they already live, I heard, in France or something like that. Well, he is more, he's more for, like, California. He wants to, like, live back in California, something like that. TMZ adds that Jolie is asking the judge to give Pitt visitation privileges, but does not want the actor to have joint physical custody, only joint legal custody. She is not asking for spousal support. Jolie listed the date of separation as September 15th, 2016. Jolie and Pitt have been together since 2004 and married in August 2014. Oh. But they've been together since 2004. That's pretty amazing, actually, for them. Because they were both kind of like, you know, I don't know, kind of like loose, I guess, so to speak. I don't know. But, yeah, that's pretty interesting. But, yeah, now they're splitting up. So another one. Because my favorite people, Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber, is an article. Selena Gomez reportedly got a new number to avoid Justin Bieber. So maybe I'll post that one, and you can read it for yourself. That was on September 15th, though. Of this year, though, it's not an old article because they've been split up for a long time. Not only is it too late to say, sorry, Selena Gomez doesn't want to hear it. Us Weekly is reporting that Gomez got a new phone number to discourage her ex-boyfriend, Justin Bieber, from reaching out. She told everyone not to give it to him, a source whispered to us. There is, like, real big fucking gossip, and I'm not any better. I'm not going to lie about it and say, oh, yeah, I'm above this stuff. I'm not. I'm just as bad. I read this shit. But it is kind of a little pathetic, too, that, you know, this is what our life consists of, is worrying about other people's lives that are celebrities. Now, I'm going to hear about this. Trust me, I will hear about this, Matt Tarns. But I'm just pointing it out. Yeah, I'm not any better. It's just kind of crazy, too. Now, here's another gossip one from about Taylor Swift. I didn't even know the dude who played in... Didn't he play Loki in that... What do you call it? Those superhero movies? He played Loki. Was it Thor? I mean, I don't know what the deal with this guy saw in Taylor Swift, but it says Tom Hiddleston says he's still friends with Taylor Swift because apparently they broke up. I didn't even know they were going together, though. It's like, dude, what do you see in her? I mean, me, I could understand. I'm just freaking desperate. This guy's like a decent looking guy too. He played in Chrism Peaks, High Rise, I Saw the Light, Thor, and the Avengers film. So, I mean, he's a decent-looking guy. Again, I just don't know what he sees in her, though. I just don't understand that. Dude, you do... Me, I can't do any better. You could do a lot better. And he's only 35. I thought he was actually a little bit older than that. I don't know why. I thought he was a lot older than that, but I thought he was more my age almost. Not 50, but at least close to it. But he's a good actor, so, you know. Let's see what else I have on my plate. For people who like The Flash, I don't like the new Flash as much. I did like it a lot when I started watching it, and I stopped watching it. But I liked the original series back in the 80s. Well, not the original series, but for a TV series, it was the original series for me. I can't remember who played that part of Barry Allen, but that was a really cool show. It only was short-lived, though. The new one's been on, now it's going on its third season. From comicbookmovie.com, it says New Flash Season 3 poster unveiled. So you can see that on comicbookmovie.com for those who like. I will go back eventually, maybe watch The Flash. I just don't know when. It's not going to be tonight, I'll tell you that much, especially when it's going on 5 o'clock. So, yeah, I just put this up. I actually wasn't going to talk about it, but maybe I will. Like from my horror stuff. It's titled Never Hike Alone, is the Friday the 13th movie I've been waiting for. Official trailer. Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film. See, that's the thing. Can't you kind of get in trouble for that? Because, like, it's a parody film or a film that shows appreciation. I'll put it up on my Facebook page. For, Jason Voorhees, a Friday the 13th. But somebody made, like, a short on that, I guess, or a short film, some type of film. Never Hike. It's called Never Hike Alone. But you got to watch, because Sean Cunningham could really turn around and say, listen, hey, this is under license. You can't do this, dude. That could happen. Because he's a real, he's pretty tight with his stuff, Sean Cunningham. I've learned that. So, I don't know. Yeah, this was on Modern Horrors that I had joined, and actually, I thought I did. No, I did. They got some cool stuff on this thing, by the way. This modernhorrors.com. Now, it says, could the VR version of Alien Isolation be on the way? Now, the VR thing, I'm not sure how well it's going to take off. I guess people who have seen VR games seem like pretty impressed by them. Now, that would be pretty cool because, like, if you do horror games and they actually do look fairly decent, can you imagine that, by the way? A VR game of, like, aliens? I think I'd probably be shitting myself. I already am, but, I do that on a daily basis. I shit myself. But that would actually really make me shit myself. I'm not even kidding. The first part, I think I was. Not really, but, I'm going to say I did. Folks, because it is actually... Oh, shit. It's actually almost an hour and a half. Not quite, and that's good for me when it's not quite. So I might just call this a wrap. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk about tonight, because otherwise I'm going to be heading out. Need to get some sleep. Which is unfortunate because, I don't know. I'm just tired, folks. I'm tired. But yeah, I'll let you know. I'll actually try to give my comments on the iPhone once I would get it, and let you know about that. I do, once again, I would suggest to people, like, hey, if you aren't home, it's probably not a bad way to go. Just have things, keep it at the post office or something, because sometimes, like, you ever do that, you always got to be concerned nowadays, especially with people and just the way things are. I mean, I hate to be that way, but I hear this I get this stuff in my head not just from myself. I hear this from other people that believe, think the same way I do. That you really got to be careful. Like, we live in you've heard this every generation of people. You always hear the same thing. Well, we live in dangerous times. We live in a dangerous world, and it seems like, that, yeah, it seems that way. But is it true? But I think generation after generation, it has gotten, it's gotten more dangerous. I mean, our and especially now, since we allow more people into this country that are just allowed to come in, like, for not a very good reason at all. But besides that, oh, you're a migrant. Oh, you're a refugee. Oh, you're an illegal immigrant. Hey, we're going to let you all in. We're going to let all these people in. We don't care about your background. We don't care if you have a criminal record. You know what? It's fine with me. Just come in and, do whatever you want. Continue to do your shenanigans. If you want to kill a few people or rape a couple children or women, go right ahead. I have no problem with it. I mean, that's what kind of society, and because of that, though, I personally think that we do really, I'm not just saying that, I really do think we live in kind of like dangerous times. How else can I put it? So, anyway, folks, I do thank you for listening to me if you do. I'm not going to go into the whole shenanigans if you do, if you don't, blah, blah, blah. You know that spiel by now from me saying it, so I'm not going to bother. So, but I do thank you either way for listening to me. So, everyone, have a good night. This is Walter from iWalter, and I am signing off for now with an hour-and-a-half show at almost 5 in the morning. Well, I got 20 minutes to go, but it will be up at 5, probably 6. Who knows? Thanks a lot. Have a good night, folks, and I don't know when I'll be back.